Good evening and welcome to RFL. I am Richard French. We have entered a new phase in the impeachment trial of Donald Trump. That is, both sides have rested their cases, and we are in the middle of the Q&A portion of the program. I want to bring in Andrew Whitman, senior political correspondent, who's here to sum up the argument in about a minute, because frankly, that's all we need to see. It was the antithesis of what we saw the House managers lay out.
Yeah, in particular because the House managers gave us a lot of new stuff. We've heard this defense before. Trump's lawyers argued he had a free speech right to say what he wanted on January 6th. They accused Democrats of selective editing of video. Then they showed selectively edited video of their own. They said Democrats were out to get Trump and disenfranchise his voters, and they sort of semi-threatened senators, saying no one wants a primary. And in the oddest moment, Trump's team tried some whataboutism, playing 9.5 minutes of Democrats saying the word fight. We're only going to show you 30 seconds.
It's a bare-knuckles fight.
Now they're going to have to actually fight back against people.
The fight has to be conducted.
It's so important that we need to fight.
Fight that fight.
We have been fighting.
I was fighting very hard. Time is of the essence, both in terms of the fight.
I think we should be fighting.
Well, I really believe we need to fight.
We're simply not going to take this line down. We're going to keep fighting.
9.5 minutes of that. The Trump team also briefly addressed the call to the Georgia Secretary of State when Trump asked him to find 11,800 votes. Their response, Trump didn't make the call public, so how could that be inciting anything? And Trump was looking for fraudulent ballots, not just for enough votes to win the state. All right, so what's next in the trial? Not a lot. It's all expected to end tomorrow at this point. If either side wants to call witnesses, there's a debate of up to 2 hours. If that happens, a lengthy process begins, which is one of the reasons that very few people expect witnesses to be called. After that, any motions and then final arguments with up to 2 hours per side. Then the final vote. If 67 senators vote to convict, there's another vote, whether to bar Trump from ever holding future elected office. Rich?
It bordered on the surreal today in that the argument from the defense was, hey, there was no time to put together a case. We don't really know what's happening. Everything is just opinions. In the very room that was stormed on January 6th, where people were killed in the very building, where the very witnesses in the trial had to be evacuated so that in the case of Romney and others and the vice president, they wouldn't be killed. And then I heard the defense attorney say, well, I don't know any of these things. You guys are It was finally pointed out, the person who can answer this in terms of why wasn't the National Guard called? Did the president tweet out these horrible things about Mike Pence when he knew that he was under threat of basically being hung by the mob? It's as if he doesn't even know his own client. So to me, with all the sober approach for the first couple days as to the consequences of what happened on the 6th, what built up to it, and if unchecked, the message it leaves, today it was almost as if, well, we got to go through the obligatory couple hours here. We're only going to use 3 of the 16 hours that are allotted to us because, well, what do you want me to say? And we don't really know what happened on the 6th because we've been living basically in an underground bunker.
Best question that's an example of that came from Mitt Romney. It was, did Trump know that Pence was in danger when he sent that tweet? And they basically punted the answer, even though Tommy Tuberville, who's sitting in the chamber, can confirm that because he had the phone call with Trump and said that they evacuated Pence. There are also some questions about what Trump knew and when he knew it and the kind of response and how responsible he was. And we heard from one of the House managers, Delegate Stacey Plaskett, who gave this response.
He cultivated these individuals. These are the undisputed facts. The National Guard was not deployed until over 2 hours after the attack. I heard reference to Mayor Bowser in defense's presentation. Mayor Bowser does not have authority over the Capitol or federal buildings. At no point in that entire day did the President of the United States, our Commander-in-Chief, tell anyone, law enforcement struggling for their lives, insurgents who felt empowered by the sheer quantity of them, any of us in this building, or the American people, that he was sending help. He did not defend the Capitol. The President of the United States did not defend the capital of this country.
So detailed answers like that from the House managers. We got a lot of angry, gruff responses from the Trump defense team. I made the observation that the defense struck me like it was the first segment of Tucker Carlson's show. If they assigned Tucker Carlson to come up with a defense, playing video, repeating the same video again and again, 9.5 minutes of Democrats saying the word fight, like that has any relevance?
Do you know, Andrew, how bizarre? I was thinking at one point, do you imagine my president is banned from Twitter and all social media because he is seen as a real danger to national security? Do you imagine if he had a Twitter account? He would literally be contradicting his own counsel in real time here. I mean, that's how surreal it is. All right, our coverage just continuing on Impeachment Night in America 2.0. We'll be right back with much more. Stay with us.